I'm Stephanie. I'm the director of Wild Care in Eastham, and today I am here with Mike O'Connor, who is the superstar and owner of Birdwatchers General Store in Orleans. And today we're going to talk about bird window strikes and why they happen and how you can reduce your impacts on birds.
And this is kind of a critical time of year because it's migration season. A lot of these birds winter in the tropics or are born up in the wilds of Canada, and they pass through our area on migration. They're not familiar with our buildings, our windows, and it's a huge problem, and it kind of needs to be addressed, but it's also a problem for backyard birds. Backyard birds are also susceptible to window strikes, but they're a little bit used to our structures, so it's not as much of a problem, but the migrating birds are a problem. And there's three things to talk about. One is how to prevent it. Two, what happens when a bird hits the window. And three, I don't know what that is.
We'll make it up as we go along. And to add to Mike's point, so at Wild Care we see window strikes during migration, and then also when baby birds hatch. Once they fledge, once they leave the nest, they don't know the environment. And so we tend to see a lot of baby bird strikes in the middle of the summer while they're trying to figure things out. And like Mike said, resident birds, you know, they're used to a certain location. If you have new structures, or even if you do not, they're still susceptible to window strikes. So you need to take necessary precautions.
I remember the third one. It's birds of prey, often Cooper's hawks, Juption hawks, kind of make a living on harassing backyard birds. Especially feeder birds, feeders, Cooper's hawks and Sharpshin's hawks will come in, chase your birds. And when that happens, the birds fly kind of in a panic, and they usually fly to the darkest place where the place they can get to. And your window is going to have trees and dark bushes, darkness, and they'll fly to that. And that's where they run into problems too. So that's a little trickier to prevent because the birds will panic. But again, there's a few things you can do about that too.
Right. That's a really good point. And also, when you're feeding birds, it's a good idea. If you have a bird bath, they now recommend that you have it within 3 feet of a window. And that's because if it's just outside of 3 feet and birds are frightened, they can get up enough speed where they might slam into a window and harm themselves. If it's less than 3 feet, it's less likely that they're going to cause any harm if they hit the window, and so that's important. And Mike, actually, you wanted to mention the bird feeders that we put on the windows and how those can be preventative.
Right. You know, in all the literature you read about helping stop collisions, none of the literature mentions this, and I'm not sure why, but I've always been an advocate of putting a feeder on the window. Like Stephanie says, hanging a feeder right from the window prevents that acceleration because the glass is there, and so you could hang a feeder there. But I stick it right on the window. That way the birds are focused on the feeder, they're looking at the seed. It's not accidental, they're paying attention. Glass sometimes surprises the bird, or they get like a halo effect of the glass. But this kind of stops that, and I've had birds hit windows, and I've made certain adjustments, but I've never had a bird collide with a window feeder on it. So that's worth thinking about. And even if you don't feel like feeding birds, you can put something on the outside. People hang all kinds of crazy things on it. But I would, if you're going to feed birds, feed them really close to the glass so they don't get going, and stick on the window feeder either bird seed or hummingbird feeder. Also been very effective, I found.
I love that feeder, by the way. I have the smaller one, and I actually get mourning doves in it. I send Mike videos all the time. I get mourning doves in that thing, and American robins, bluebirds. It's really awesome. And to see them up close, it's really fun. Okay, and Mike also mentioned, so the problem is that birds, they don't see glass as a structure. What they see is whatever is reflected in the glass. So if it's your garden or trees that are being reflected, they just think they can fly right through because they see that. And so the problem is that reflection, and we need to work on ways to break that up for them so that it's recognizable as an object or a structure. So should I go through products?
You got a bunch of
Oh
stuff.
my gosh, I have this treasure chest of things. This is pretty exciting. Okay, so sorry, Mike.
That's okay.
So I actually have here, Mike sells this in store. It's holographic scare tape, which you can stick outside. You can tape it up or nail it up or use putty. And certainly this is reflective and it floats, so it's a little frightening looking to birds. Do you have anything to add to this?
No, that's great. I use that. I mean, we use it. We sell it mostly for people keeping woodpeckers off the house. But you could attach that to your window with a suction cup. Don't use a nail, but use it.
Even better.
With a suction cup. And this is the gardeners use it to keep the birds from stealing their raspberries or blueberries. But when the sun hits it, it's crazy shiny, and so that gets the birds' attention. So you can attach it. Get a little suction cup, attach it on there, and then put that up. I find that to be effective.
Oh, I like this. The suction cup idea is awesome. Also, these are window alert decals that Mike sells here in store. He has all different patterns. These are butterflies. And so you put these on the outside of the window, and birds can see in the UV spectrum. So these are embedded, and birds can see them, but we can barely see them. The thing about these is they need to be spaced within, within 4 inches apart from one another, and need to be replaced every 6 months. But they are, I can tell you, at my house, which is like, I feel like Snow White, I've got birds coming and going all day, and these are super, super effective, and they're also very attractive. So here's an option. Another one that you can purchase online, and Eva, let me know if you want me to get closer to you. So this is they're called Bird's Eye View, and these are by Artscape. If you type in Artscape online, these are also, they have, UV embedded particles in them, and so we can barely see them, but birds can. And these go on the inside of the windows, and they need to be replaced every few years. They have different patterns, and it kind of reminds me of like a paper doily. They're very attractive. So this is a nice way to dress up your windows and prevent bird strikes. Okay, I have some other things. This is so exciting. I've got so much stuff this year. So this is from American Bird Conservancy. This is bird tape, and this is tape that you could put, you could make squares, you can make lines. It looks very white to us, but when you put it on the window, it's barely visible. It's more translucent. And so this breaks up the reflection of the window while allowing you to see outside, obviously, and not obstruct your view. This goes like outside the window, and then look at this one. This is a larger bird tape. And while here in our nature center, we are going to be, we've started adding some of these so people can see the different options. So I don't know if you can see, these squares they look sort of blue, almost translucent and glittery. On the window, they barely look blue, but birds see them as blue. And so this is another thing you can make. There's various patterns you can make. For all these tapes, etc., the tapes need to be within two inches apart from one another to be especially effective. And Eva, what else do I have? There's something fun for your kids. If you want to do something temporary, you can have your children draw beautiful designs outside with glass writing markers and pens. This is super fun. Of course, it's not going to stay on your windows long term, but you could do this for spring migration and for June and August, July, August, when baby birds are here, and it's a really fun thing to do. And inexpensive.
Did you mention the cord? The nylon cord?
No, please mention it.
So there's another device, and you can make this. This is really cool. And it's you just take long, thin pieces of nylon cord. Some people call it parachute cord, but just any kind of nylon cord, and you hang it down like beaded curtains without the beads. And you can just hang that down. You can make it yourself. Just attach it to a boat on a strip of wood in front of your window and hang that down, and it'll move. That actually is proved one of the most effective things. Those dots that you mentioned, I was at a government visitor center in North Carolina a few weeks ago, and they had just built this beautiful visitor center, and all the windows had those dots on them. because of that issue. It's on the coast, it's migrating birds, like you said, and that's been, the government's putting in, because that's all affected that. That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. This is my last thing to show you. So these are dots. These are from a company called Feather Friendly, and we have just installed some of these at Wildcare in our new education center. And so this is their melody pattern of dots. And what you do is it takes about 1 to 3 hours to do a door or a window, because you basically secure this on the window, you squeegee it on, and then you leave the top mask on for a couple of hours. When you remove the top mask, only these little dots stick. And I can tell you at Wildcare, you know, we have this brand new building, and we were concerned about how it would look, and it quite honestly is beautiful. And looking from inside to out, you can barely see the dots. Yet on the outside, there's this nice pattern of dots that birds can see easily. So we were very happy with this. The company is Feather Friendly, and they have other patterns, and it comes in a big roll, like a 150-foot roll. And this is for small do-it-yourself or even large do-it-yourself, or corporations where you hire someone to install them. Eva, what do you have?
Once you put it on there, it can last up to 8 years.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Really important. So once you put these dots on, these last 8 years. So you can't professionally wash your windows for 30 days, but then they last 8 years. So the installation effort is worth it, because you won't have to do it again for quite a long time, which is really, really good. And I just wanted to show you, so this is from Feather Friendly.
Let's do it.
And there's a quote in here that I just want to read, because I think it sums up the importance of why we do this. So, a single bird crashing into your window may seem inconsequential, but each death is one less bird to eat insects, spread seeds, and pollinate plants, and produce more birds for future generations. Additionally, there would be one less bird to beautify the landscape and inspire us through their songs. And so birds are critically important, and honestly, they are almost all in decline. And so I feel like these are really simple and often inexpensive things we can do to help protect their journeys. And Mike, do you want to talk about what to do if you find a bird that strikes your window?
Sure. I just wanted to add to that, because we all have had that sad experience when a bird hits the window. And if you think, okay, you had one bird this year, now multiply that by every building in this country. That's a lot of birds we lose from that. So it is an important thing. And maybe some of these items don't appeal to you, but doing something is better than doing nothing. So, you know, make that extra step. And then in the old days, that's what I used to tell people to do, is if a bird hits your window and it's knocked out, we all thought if it flew away, it was fine. Turns out that's not the case. They're not, most of the time they're not fine. And what we used to do is pick them up and put them in a paper bag. They'd start moving around and we'd let them fly away. And again, we thought they were fine. Turns out it's not the case. So what you need to do, if the bird's done, put it in that paper bag or box and take it over to this young lady. Or if you're not lucky enough to live in the wild here, a similar facility somewhere where you happen to live, and you can find those online. And what happens when somebody brings a stunned bird, Steffi?
What happens? Usually that bird will go into oxygen, and we give fluids and oxygen, and then keep them at least 24 hours to make sure there's no brain swelling. Obviously they get an exam and are checked for injuries, and then we take it from there. So in some cases, in 48 hours, we can go and release it back, but in other cases, we are especially grateful to have that bird because it needed additional care. Sometimes anti-inflammatories, pain meds. Sometimes they actually really have injuries like broken bones and such. So please bring them in. We'd rather have them and observe them than have them suffer in the wild.
I want to mention one thing that I invented, and I think it works great. I had a very high window that I couldn't put any of these devices on from the outside because I'm afraid of heights. I don't even wear platform shoes. I just can't do height. So when I could access the window from the inside, and a lot of these devices don't work well from the inside, so I hung blinking LED lights from it. My wife loves it. But I had put them on a timer, and the color lights, and they blink and they shine through. And because we have a lot of cedar trees, the robins would come and eat the cedar berries, and they'd hit this window. I would lose 2 or 3 robins a day by hitting this window. And so I put up these lights. That was 2 years ago. We haven't lost a bird since. So if you feel like being creative and you want a little disco in your life, think about something like that too. That would good. If you just have an out of the way window that it's been a problem, but you don't mind a little bit of Vegas in your house, you can try that.
I love that. I love Christmas, and so to me that's an excuse to have Christmas lights up year round. I remember you sent me a video too. You're like, look what I did. That's awesome. So we're at Birdwatchers General Store, and I just need to say this place is incredible. We love Mike and his staff. They are big supporters of wild care, and aside from bird food, bird paraphernalia, optics, and great advice, they also sell clothing.
Look at that dress.
Look at this, everyone.
The supermodel.
So please come by and support Mike and his team. They do an amazing job here. Over 1 billion birds are killed annually in the United States due to windows. You just heard a bunch of ways that you can prevent that. So help us to protect their journey, and thank you for watching. And thank you, Mike.
Oh, thanks
You're
for
awesome.
me.
You're like one of my heroes.